You're listening to the Work Cultured Podcast, where good companies keep good company. Well, hey, welcome to the Work Cultured Podcast. Today we have with us Kirksey of Direction.com. He's the CEO founder,
yes,
I believe. So give us a little bit of your history there. Tell us a little bit about Direction. We'll let you plug it a little more later because, I'm selfishly very interested in what you guys do. I know it's SEO related, and I know SEO is usually a nightmare, and you're trying to solve that. So tell me about that first, and then let's dive into more of the culture kind of stuff.
Sure. So I started the company when it was 2016, and I was actually in Iraq when I started the company.
Yeah.
Wow. That was my third deployment to the Middle East. And when I was in the military, that's when I decided I do not want to do this anymore, and registered the company and just started taking it from there. Started as a full service digital agency and realized pretty quickly it was hard to scale that. So in 2019, we focused on what we loved most and what our clients love most, which is the organic search engine optimization. And in mid 2020, we launched local SEO software. And so with our focus solely on SEO and being able to provide both services and software, it's been helping us grow a lot.
That's awesome. And so did you hire on your own development team to build that software out? Did you contract it out at first, or how's that looked for you?
It's a hybrid of us internally building it, as well as actually the IT team that we use. Mm-hmm. They have developers. So yeah.
And how many employees do you have at this point?
8, including myself.
Okay. So still relatively small,
yeah.
But okay. Then I love that. So 8 employees, I guess, plus some contractors. Yeah. So how important is culture at your stage?
It's everything.
It's everything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say more.
Well, it took me years to realize that it's everything. Once it's hard to build a rock solid team. And the team we have now is very rock solid. And it's, due to bringing on the right people in the company, mm-hmm. and building a very strong culture where everybody, enjoys working with each other, trusts each other, and love our mission, vision, and values, and really are aligned with them.
Yeah. So what are your core values?
It's to be innovative, be positive, and be a winner.
Okay. And how long? So I know you are sort of a traction user, right?
Yes.
I assume, because we met through an EOS implementer.
Yes.
Did the core values, were those pre-existing before you implemented EOS, or did that come out as a result of EOS?
There was a hybrid, I want to say, of them beforehand. They weren't solidified until we completed EOS.
Gotcha. Okay.
So our implementer, his name's Byron. Byron helped us.
Yep.
He really helped tease those out.
Yeah.
And establish them.
Yeah. Which is your favorite?
Be innovative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's kind of the core of what Direction is innovating the SEO market?
A bit. I would say, my favorite's be innovative because I love. I built something inside of, we use ClickUp for everything, and I was able to build a really cool system in ClickUp so that every month there's a new challenge, we call it, and it's a be innovative challenge. So if somebody can build out a certain automation for the companies with using a tool like Zapier, then there's a reward. So it's
cool.
It's that's why it's my favorite one, because it's the most fun one.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to get to the current 8 employees? Or has it been that team for quite a while now, or do you keep adding more people to the fold?
We did have 13 employees at one point.
Really? Okay. So you downsized from that.
Yes.
Okay.
And we used to have an in-house content team, but now when we provide SEO services, we provide strategy, roadmap, and everything around SEO, but we do not produce the content. So usually we'll work with companies who have in-house content teams, or they'll have writers that they like working with on Upwork, or we also have partnered with a company that's called Content Bacon, and they help.
Content Bacon?
Yes, it's awesome. Great name. They help produce the content that we provide the strategy for our clients.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I want to back up because there's a, as we keep diving into this conversation of culture, there's a question we ask every single guest, kind of right out of the gate. Of course, I mean, we say right out of the gate, but we tend to rabbit trail first, and then we come back to the question. So the question is, what is a mistake that you've made in leadership that you'll never forget?
It was definitely losing my cool.
Okay.
There was a point, where I want to say it was probably 3 years into the company, and I was still learning how to hire the right people. And one of my hires were the wrong person, and they were stealing from the company.
Oh,
yeah. And basically sending invoices to the clients that looked like they were coming from our company, but they're going to their bank account.
oh my God.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's blatant. That's wow.
yeah. And then they wouldn't leave the office. So then I called the police, and the police took her out of the office. They literally had to remove her. But while I was, trying to tell her that she needs to leave the office, I definitely were saying some very negative words, to say the least.
Yeah.
And at a very loud tone of voice that no one on my team had ever seen from me.
Wow.
And within a month after that, I think 2 other employees left.
Interesting. That's fascinating because, I mean, you think in a moment like that, I mean, it seems almost justifiable to be absolutely furious. I mean, they're taking your lifeblood, right? This person's just robbing you and screwing over your clients at the same time. And I mean, any anger is justifiable, but I think what you're saying is that it wasn't just the anger, it was the reaction of the anger that, you regret and that your team saw, and they're like, oh, who's that animal that I didn't know existed?
Yes. Yeah. I think, as a leader, no matter how angry or upset you are, to be able to take a deep breath, take a minute, and make sure that the way you are acting is the way you would want someone else in your company to act. And it's not out of just like without thinking.
Yeah, man, I can relate. There's a couple of times that I would lose my cool, but I had an office that I could go and close the door and tried to, make sure that nobody else saw that. One time though, I kind of went out of the parking lot because I was just like, I gotta get out of here. I'm so upset with this employee, and I kicked the door open, I thought it was just this nice casual, I'll just bump it open with my foot instead of my hands, and it pretty much broke my toe. That was, I was like, all right. I need to learn how to keep my cool a little bit. That was a mistake for sure.
Yeah.
No, by no means my biggest mistake in leadership though. I think we make those pretty often.
Yeah. As long as we learn from them.
Yeah. So, emailing back and forth, one of the things you mentioned topic wise, and you've actually already mentioned it, is putting the right people in the right seats. So sounds like you've had some, mess ups in the past. I mean, as we all have, what do you do differently today to make sure to know that you have the right person in the right seat?
There's a lot to that.
Okay.
Starting with making sure that we interview properly. There's a lot of interview questions. So we created a very solid interview process, and that helps a lot, especially because we do actually call references.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say they'll call a reference.
They really don't. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't. And, I've learned that definitely is the thing to do.
Yeah.
And we don't only call references of previous employers. But when we speak to an employer, we also want to speak to an employee that was at that company working with them.
Nice. Yeah.
And there's a book called WHO, WHO.
Yep.
And that helped a lot in building an interview process. But from there, we want to make sure that they align with our values.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we give them tests in terms of, for their job position, how much they truly know. In the SEO world, a lot of people think they know it, and there's so much to it.
Yeah, SEO is a mystery to me. Hiring companies in the past, it's just such a crapshoot. Like, they want to charge thousands a month, and they tell you, like, they'll just tell me all of these terminologies and algorithms, and then I'm like, well, what are you guaranteeing me? Well, nothing. We can't guarantee you anything. Well, what are you doing? And it's really interesting. And like, I don't even think firms know what they're talking about. So to find the person to work for your firm that knows what they're talking about, I bet is difficult.
To an extent, yes.
Yeah.
But we have been able to attract people who are, known in the industry already.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. We could, because we've been able to, create a solid stance in our industry.
Yeah. Do you think it's the software itself is kind of disrupting, and that's what's attracting people in? What do you think is kind of the it factor that attracts people?
A few different things. I mean, the software certainly is an attractive piece to it. But I think when other people interview with us, they love the energy that our team has. And, when I started the company, I wanted to make sure that it's a company that does not run off in any way in relation to the way the military ran, where it's,
yeah,
it was just, you could have ideas, and unless it was a supervisor's idea, it doesn't matter. It's a bad idea.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was that aspect, like how stark of a difference is military culture, at least in your experience. And we don't want to, we're not knocking anything here. Don't come after us, people. But what are the stark differences between that and what you're doing now? And also, actually, before you answer that, did you have any kind of regular jobs before you were in the military and then started your own company?
Well, before the military, I did a few things here and there. It's usually like landscaping.
Yeah.
But
not like an office.
No.
Not, yeah. So work culture, quote unquote, like you kind of discovered there's a culture in military, and now you have to build one yourself from scratch.
Yeah.
Here at Direction. Okay. So what are some of the differences? What are some of the things you notice?
Well, it's funny. The Army actually has a really rock solid leadership methodology and principles and guides, and they spend a lot of time training people to become leaders. The issue is people. Some people will take the information and properly, lead teams, squads, platoons. And there's other people who, they won't. They won't take the guidance, they won't take the advice, or they know the guidance, they know the advice, but they've had bad leaders above them before, and they just learn directly from the people who were above them. It's tough because, what you read in a book is not always what you're going to actually do.
Yeah.
But the biggest in leadership with the military, when people sign up for the military, they've basically signed their life away to the military. Mm-hmm. And if you disobey an order, well, it's not a very good day for you.
Yeah.
And depending on what, how bad you are or whatnot, you can go to jail.
Right.
For not listening to orders.
Yeah. And it probably doesn't matter whether or not that quote unquote order or rule is arbitrary or actually has some sort of reasoning. Yeah. You break the rules, there's punishment.
Yeah. I mean, the Army will have you do a whole bunch of stuff that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that you are actually following
compliant.
Which makes sense, right? Because on the battlefield, if you don't listen when someone says duck,
you're dead. Yeah.
But that's what I would say the biggest difference is between the military and the civilian world is in the civilian world, somebody can just choose, I don't want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to try to do it my way.
Right.
And there's really nothing, no kickback, except for they could get fired maybe.
Yeah.
But also, if you fire somebody, I'll give you a quick example. I had an employee who said that he was living in California, so in an expensive part of California, like a suburb of Los Angeles. So we, increased his salary to kind of match that area.
Sure.
Come to find out, he's living in Colombia, the country.
Oh God.
So we fired him, and he filed a claim,
Yep.
and the state of California came after me and was like, "Yeah, you didn't fire him for anything wrong." And we were like, "He lied," and they were like, "Well, is it in your guidebook that you're not allowed to lie?" I said, "No." And
Oh
they
my
said, "Well,
gosh.
that doesn't matter then." Yeah.
That's wild. Wow. Yeah, I mean, California is a stickler on all the labor laws, particularly California and New York.
I will never hire anyone from California again.
Yeah, so my last company, we had a presence in 24 states,
Yeah.
and we had clients that had California locations. Like, when are you going to
Yeah.
be? When are you coming to California? When are you coming? And we're like, nope,
Nope,
we're not.
Not happening.
It's just
Yeah.
just too much at risk, and my industry was very labor heavy, so. You lose 1 or 2 EOC cases, and unemployment percentage goes up, and everything just
Yeah.
or you can get your ass sued because they grabbed their own personal phone and answered a work email on their break, and you're like, what is happening here? Like, I didn't tell them to do that. Well, but they did it, but I didn't. Okay, well, so that's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm definitely a component of trying to do things the easy way and the simple way, and try to keep there's already too many headaches in business as it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you can simplify, team culture, employees in any way possible, as a business owner, it's amazing to do so.
Yeah.
So to throw California in the mix.
Yeah. Yep. Are all of your employees here in Austin area, or are they kind of everywhere?
There's one of my teammates is here in Austin, and then we have people all over, mostly East Coast.
Okay. Are there any clusters, or is everybody pretty much just remote?
Everyone's remote, and even though there's only one other person here in Austin, that makes Austin
the only
largest cluster. Yeah. I mean, there's people in South Florida, Maryland, Minnesota, a bunch of different places, but Austin, I mean, and we are trying to grow our Austin presence here, because when we do any events or anything like that, it's easier, less employees have to fly in.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
What are some of the challenges you face being so remote?
I would say it's made things easier.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's the obvious challenges of, some things are easier, such as training in person or working with somebody next to their computer and guiding them through things. Definitely makes things easier. That I would say probably training would be the toughest. But other than that, we work really well remote, and could be for a variety of reasons, just who each of us are. We still get together at least once a quarter, and I mean, at least, the leadership team. And then, we're active on Slack.
Yeah.
And we get on video calls all the time together. I mean, I would say, remote kind of helps us, because we're able to focus. We all have quiet spots to work, and it's not a busy workplace with noise in the background. And
you mentioned something about an office being near here. Do you have a co-working space? Is that what that is? Or do you have an office?
No, I have an office.
Okay.
So I have 2 small children at home.
You're not getting much done there.
No. So the office is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Do the rest of your folks work from their house, or does Direction get them an office or anything like that?
No, I mean, they all have their own workspace they like. We like to get any employees anything that they need for their workspace, such as standing desks or additional computer screens, whatever it may be. We provide all equipment, and we want to make sure that their workspace is fully set up for success. They want like that they have somewhere comfortable to work from.
Are most of your folks technical people, whether that be the SEO side of things or building on the technology stack?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us, since we only provide SEO services, I mean, all of us are SEO people.
Yeah. Are you an engineer yourself?
No.
Okay. So you're not building the software, you're not coding and all that.
I mean, I would not call myself a coder or a developer, although I've built over 100 websites myself, but there's, with WordPress, that's a little different than just custom code or building stuff. It's
totally
kind of drag and drop builders.
So tell me more about the software itself. Like what are you doing differently in SEO that, I'm selfishly asking, but also that, our audience needs to hear about?
Yeah. So with our software, it helps so we have a guarantee. Your online visibility increases or your money back. And it's also $60 a month. So you really,
not much to lose.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've seen results within days when people sign up. And so there's a lot of different ways that it works, and there's a lot of different features to it. My favorite feature is that it lists you in a bunch of different online directories. And one recent one that we added, for example, was nextdoor.com. And when all of your business profiles online are, your website, your address, your name, your phone number, all that stuff is consistent across the whole internet, and you're listed everywhere that people are searching, everywhere that matters. Google sees that, and they can therefore trust ranking you above.
Give you more authority automatically. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they say, okay, well, if somebody's looking for, let's say for a roofer, for example, and they say, roofer near me in Google, there's a bunch of different ways that it operates and scans the internet and crawls the internet and stuff. They don't obviously give away their SEO sauce.
Sure.
But one of the things that they do is scans the internet for all the places that different roofing businesses are listed online. And if roofing company A is listed in, say, 100 places, all with the same accurate information, versus company B, which maybe at one point changed their phone number, changed their address or anything at all, and they didn't update their profile on any spots, their roofing company B is going to show up below A, because Google wants to send people to the most trusted result.
Yeah.
And if they can trust sending people to that result, they're going to rank it higher.
And that's a big part of what the software does then.
Yeah, that's the core of it. It also has we have review systems, so you can, whether you get reviews from Google, Facebook, Yelp, anything like that, you can respond directly from the platform. And then you can also publish posts, Q&A to like Facebook, Google, and 20 other directories. There's and we're releasing features soon, such as like Instagram posting and local rank tracking.
Nice.
So we're continually building it out, and it's extremely powerful. I'd say the number one growth method for it has been people that sign up just telling their friends.
Yeah.
So like, oh my God. I went somewhere earlier today, and it was a company that is on Direction Local, and the owner was there. She's like, oh, you're with Direction. She's like, oh my God, I started ranking higher, like literally 3 days. And I was like, what? And she like showed me her phone. She's like, no, I took screenshots. Look.
That's awesome.
And showed me, and I was like, what? That's awesome. She's like, yeah. And then I sent it to, cause it's a franchise. She's like, I sent it to everyone else.
Oh, that's great.
It's like, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple of things come to mind that I'm going to look into it and mention the software like right after this. Is it mostly B2C companies that are going to use it?
Literally if you have a Google business profile, it'll help you.
Okay.
So, for example, we're B2B, right? As an SEO agency, I have an office location, and we're using obviously our software for that. Nobody has ever come and knocked on the door and say, hey, I need SEO.
Of course. Right.
So even if you're not B2C, it can help.
Yeah.
Just because someone isn't walking into your business doesn't mean you don't need to get found. Right. So especially with business services, you know, if I'm searching for a business attorney or anything like that, I tend to like to work with someone who's local.
Yeah.
Or an accountant or something like that. I know I've definitely searched for other business services and hired locally, and that was based on what I found in Google Map results.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I want to come back to the right people, right seats kind of concept. So you have kind of a pretty intense interview process. You're actually calling on references, and not just the reference, but you're finding somebody they worked with. You're giving them tests, aptitude, I assume, like for specific what they're doing.
Yeah.
How do you mentioned values? Like, are they a values fit? Do you mean your company's core values, or do you mean kind of like just the like more general, like people ethic values?
Well, I mean, first company.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And how do you determine that when you're interviewing somebody or reading the resume?
There's, it's not while reading the resume. I usually don't ever read the resume, to be honest. Someone else will scan a resume and then kind of say, hey, I think this person fits, but resumes, I found them to not really tell the whole story, in positive and negative ways. But yeah, I mean, with, what is it? The interview, like, so can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Trying to, like, how do you determine that they're a values fit?
Yeah. With the values, I mean, there's questions we ask around the values. For example, we'll say one of our core values is to be a winner. Can you tell me about a time that you were a winner?
Yeah.
And then also we have through EOS traction, there's an like evaluation system. So it's like
the people analyzer.
The people analyzer. Yeah. Are they living up to the values? We're quick to fire, very fast.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Do you have a story? Any stories you can tell on that one? I mean, you don't have to name drop them. I mean, I'm not asking you to throw anybody on the bus, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, there was the time where somebody lied about where they were living. Yeah. And sorry, but I'm not taking that. Like that's not, you may think it's something small or not important. But that's, there's no three strikers for that. Right. It obviously always depends what it is, but we've hired somebody and within a week fired them. Wow. Because we thought that they knew what they were doing and they clearly had no idea. And it wasn't, I don't really think it was their fault in this situation. I do think it was the last agency they were working at that provided SEO services. Mm-hmm. They weren't really providing SEO services. And they brought on some bad habits with them. Yes. Yeah. Terrible. I don't want to say habits, just the approaches. Okay. Like they thought, for example, publishing a Facebook post with a link to the website was considered a backlink to a website. And that's
I don't know anything.
Technically it is, right? But that's not, I don't want to get too technical, but yeah, I mean, that's all over my head. SEO has always been just this like magic fairy dust to me that I just do not understand at all. So yeah, anything. Yeah. And then I'm trying to think of another situation where we fired someone pretty quick. Oh yeah. So we brought somebody on and fired this person within 2 weeks because I want to say they maybe worked a total of 2 days. Those 2 weeks, they kept making up excuses why they couldn't work that day or they felt crappy and we were like, look, we get it if you're sick, but you don't, like when you first started a company, you want to, like, we're looking to be impressed. Sure. Yeah. So
what's the flip side? What's an example of a recent hire that you're like, man, we nailed that. This person is perfect.
Our last hire. So I'll call her out by name. Her name is Sarah. Nice. And she has done nothing but wow our whole team since basically day one. And an example of something where she just went above and beyond. She knew something had to get done. And to be specific, we had an employee who was having a baby. So she's obviously taking some time off, and she might come back. She's like, let me see how everything is or whatever. But Sarah created an offboarding questionnaire, and it was something that I was like in the back of my mind, all right, I need to have this, but my focus has been, bringing on and making sure we keep people, not getting rid of people. Like, especially if usually, I guess this was the first time we've really had, not the first time, but it's been a while since we had somebody that had to go for, not because, they were getting another job, wanting to go work somewhere else, or because they were getting fired. And so I just didn't think of the offboarding checklist or like, not checklist, but the offboarding questionnaire.
Right. And
Sarah just was like, hey, I created an offboarding questionnaire and I'm going to run Heather through it. Is that cool with you? I was like, yeah.
Nice.
And then when she conducted the offboarding interview and everything and then sent it to me, and I was like, wow. And my whole leadership team was like,
thorough and
yeah. And it's just like, it feels so great in so many ways to see when you bring someone on and they, take initiative.
Yeah.
And they really care about other, I mean, she didn't do it just to show off or anything like that. It was obvious she cared about Heather and wanting to know that if there were ways we could better the company and to make sure that Heather felt like, welcome back, especially like afterwards, after the pregnancy and everything. So, it was taking initiative and not to show off, I guess. It was taking initiative, just true initiative, stepping up to the plate, seeing a need and filling it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What role is she in?
She's a client success manager.
Okay. So not even HR or anything like that. Just, but when you're small, you kind of wear all the hats, right?
Yeah. And that's what's great about the people we have on our team is, we all do wear multiple hats, but since we work so closely together, we can see when each other's, needs need to be filled business wise. And I think that's one of the strongest things about our team is everyone jumps in to help each other. Yeah. And even sometimes without asking, it's like, hey, do you need help here? It's like, no, I see you need help here, and let's do this. Let's knock this out.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome collaboration.
Yeah.
You said you were looking to grow soon. Yeah. You got to add some more to the team.
Yeah. I mean, over the next, in our 3-year plan, we'll have 14 employees.
Okay.
So we'll be adding about 6.
3 years from now, or
total 3 years from now.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. What is your your EOS? What's your big 10-year? What do they call it? Vision.
There's
the 3-year picture, the 1-year plan, whatever it is.
Yeah. There's the 1, 3, and 10.
Yeah.
The 10 is like just the huge. They call it the big hairy audacious skull.
Yeah.
And that's for us to have 3 million U.S. business locations on our platform.
Wow. Yeah. That's how many do you have right now?
Not 3 million. We have a few hundred, but we're growing it. And it's 100% possible because there's 30 plus million small businesses in the U.S. And there's probably half of those have multiple locations. Yeah. I mean, if you just think of one, like McDonald's is one of those 30 plus million. So, and they have who knows how many thousands of locations. So it's 3 million sounds like a big number, but in all reality, it's not. Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you have any, strategies or plans as you grow to not only get the right person I see, but also to make sure that the values are instilled, that the culture remains intact? Because, as teams grow, things get more difficult. Communication gets more difficult. There's just so many, more spinning wheels.
Yeah. And I've definitely learned that, the more you grow, the more issues come up, but at the same time, they're usually good issues. You want to squash them. Sometimes you don't realize what's needed until that time comes. And in order to address, properly strategizing growth, it's just, education of myself and my leadership team. And that's from, asking questions to other business owners that have businesses that are larger than ours.
Yeah.
I do ask a lot of questions to a lot of people because I didn't go to school for business or anything like that.
Sure.
It's something that I've learned along the way through reading books and talking to a lot of people.
Yeah. Do you have advisors as part of your team or like investors that are kind of people that you go to, or y'all just, your team is your team?
Yeah, it's just my team.
Your team. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But being a part of Entrepreneurs Organization is a massive help.
Yeah.
Because there's
people to bounce ideas off of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. I've learned a lot from people who are either where we want to be or are on the same path, or, have a lot more employees than we do. And the people in the group are really awesome in terms of like willing to share and help.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, offline, I want to ask you more about that just because I'm curious, kind of where y'all meet, since it sounds like you are 5 minutes from here. So
yeah.
we're pretty close. It'd be fun to kind of get, connected to that local network.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But in the interest of time, and we don't want to, bore people across the country with things here in Austin, before we want to get to the very last piece, what's something you want to plug? And maybe it's just more about the platform, direction.com. But is there anything else you're working on? Anything else that you just want to plug, put out there for people to know about?
Well, I want to, there was a few times you mentioned about SEO, kind of just, you're completely unsure of what it is. So I want to kind of, as simply as I can, tell you what it is.
Please.
Basically, it is creating a helpful experience for your website users. Basically, the better your website explains what you do, who you are, little things like it loads quickly, people can find other pages on your site, easy to navigate, and other sites are talking about your site, other companies are talking about you. Kind of when I referred to backlinks, that would be something. So if Forbes.com linked to this podcast, for example, that would be a great backlink.
Sure.
Because it's relative to business, Forbes. And so that's, in simple terms, what SEO is. It's working to make your website well-known in your industry, but also providing a lot of value to the people who go to your website.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are more on the local directories and things like that. You mentioned Forbes, right? So aren't there ways that you can just go and basically pay somebody to write an article on Forbes? Or there is. Okay.
Oh yeah. You can pay to be a, I did it one year. It was for Forbes Agency Council.
Okay.
Yeah. And if they listen to this, they might get mad at me. I think it was like $2,000 to be part of the council.
Okay. And that allows you to what? Just publish an article on a website, and that you write and it's by you, or that somebody else authors?
You can write it yourself, or you can hire a ghostwriter.
Yes.
But most of the internet's pay to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
There now, when done properly, it's not pay to play.
Okay.
And by that, I mean, you find something awesome on a website, such as a cool infographic that has data about employee retention or something like that. And you share that infographic on a blog of yours, and it obviously the link, that infographic maybe links to that page where you got it from. You're referencing that as the source. That is the right way to do it. Instead of the flip side would be them saying, hey, we'll pay you $500 to put our infographic on your blog.
Right. Yeah. The more organic, the better.
Exactly.
Cool. Makes sense. Still, SEO feels like a mystery, but
yeah. Okay. So plug. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to get a demo of our software, and it's only $60 a month. So for everything that I mentioned, it's $60 a month. It helps you rank higher. I mean, your online visibility increase guaranteed, or your money back. All $60.
Solid. Direction.com.
And also, if you have a sense of humor, defineawesome.com. It's kind of a little side.
What is?
Defineawesome.com.
Defineawesome.com.
It's a little side project that's just funny e-commerce products with funny stories.
This is something that you run, or is something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
my team and I.
We will have to go check that out.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's your whole team. It's like a direction kind of little side.
Yeah. It's like a side fun project.
Dealy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's definitely something I'm going to check out after this recording as well.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to end off with a little quick fire. It's just the this or that. So I'm going to say a
Okay.
couple things, and you just got to pick the one that, comes to mind first. So here we go. First of all, beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Okay. Beer or liquor?
Liquor.
Let's see. Oh gosh, I don't have my list on me. I realized this when I was recording yesterday too. When I'm here and I have my phone recording a second angle, I don't have my notes with me. So that's
fine.
Oh well. DC or Marvel?
DC.
Okay. Live band or listen on Spotify?
Live.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then just for the Austinites, Torchy's or Taco Deli?
Don't put me in that spot.
Too hard.
I most recently had Taco Deli and it was delicious. So
There you go. Well, we'll run with that one
with
then.
that,
For
yeah.
now, recently Taco Deli, but nobody's knocking Torchy's here, right?
not knocking torches.
I love it. Chris Kirksey of Direction.com. Thank you so much for your time. Check out that website. Check out
Define awesome.
defineawesome.com.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to us today. And we appreciate everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. This is the Work Culture Podcast, and we are signing off.